Many of the greatest athletes and performers in human history end up alone. They reject all facets of a normal, healthy life and dedicate their entire being to achieving greatness. Athletes, performers of all kinds, scholars, these wildly successful but isolated individuals are present in every field, yet we glorify them. At what point is it time to recognize when that drive can take someone too far, risking your life to achieve what you have dreamed of your entire life? Brave, foolish, selfish, or all those things at once? These are the questions that Cairn brings to the table in its roughly 12 to 15 hours of gameplay. On the surface, it's very easy to watch it and think that it's just a climbing simulator, and while you would be partially correct, there is so much more residing in this climbing simulator. Before I continue on with the video, I want to make it clear, I will be spoiling parts of Cairn's story in the second part of this video, pretty important portions to be clear. So if you want to avoid that, pause the video before then, go play the game, and then come back if you'd like to hear my extensive thoughts on the narrative and story. On with the video. In Cairn, you control each limb one at a time, and you choose exactly where you want to place them. You have batons that you can drill into the rock as you climb that serve as checkpoints if you happen to become unsteady during your climb and fall off. Obviously, the goal is to find secure holds as you climb up Mount Kami, which is an almost mythical mountain that no one in the world has been able to summit. And Ava, the main character, as I said earlier, has made it her life's mission to be the first. There aren't many games out there that I feel have truly mastered a single gameplay mechanic. Cairn's climbing is about 95% of the gameplay, and it's a testament to the system that not once did I grow bored of the process. It makes for some of the most involved and truly edge-of-my-seat gameplay moments I've had in a while. Those moments where I just had to say, screw it, and place a hand or foot on an insecure hold hundreds of feet up, and just pray that I could find a stable placement quickly were real stands out for me. Just as satisfying in a totally different way are the moments of true flow state that I would enter when I reached a portion of a wall where it all just clicked. The placements were spot on, the route came to me instantly, and I got where I needed to get to. What makes this gameplay system truly special is that by nature, you can feel those two extreme feelings and every feeling in between during the ascent of a single wall, no matter how short or tall it is. It all comes down to you, how patient you are, and how much foresight you have when planning your routes. It's a truly magical experience. That feeling when you finally find your route and set foot on the platform above is extremely satisfying. A majority of the time, the walls are regular stone walls or a more dense rock that you can't use your batons on. During the last third of the climb or so, you'll start to encounter ice, and that is without a doubt the most fun I had while I was climbing. Something about it was just so easy for me to grasp. If I had the option to climb a stone route or an ice route, I would always pick the ice. Outside of the climbing, you'll manage Ava's health, her hunger, thirst, and temperature. When you reach the top of the wall, you'll find save points, and it's here that you can set up your tent, or bivvy up as she says. In your tent, you can cook food using herbs from the mountain and other foods you'll find from various places. I did find the hunger system to be pretty trying. It felt like I was constantly on the verge of starving, which some might see as a good thing to be fair, but it was just happening a little too often for me to see it that way. There was a point where I was climbing a particularly tall wall and I actually had to turn off the hunger and thirst because even after climbing back down to get more food, it wasn't enough to complete the entire climb. It never got as bad as that instance before or after that, but it was a particularly annoying situation. Outside of the hunger, the resource management is fairly simple and not super demanding, at least on Alpinist mode. Also in the tent, you'll tape your fingers up when needed, repair your batons, and sleep of course. Overall, the gameplay of Cairn is exceptional, and not a moment went by where I was wishing for more from the climbing, which is the real main event here. It's perfect from the moment you step foot on the practice walls to the ending. And speaking of the end, why is a question that is thrown at Ava multiple times from multiple people. Why does she feel the need to take a risk that, for all intents and purposes, is an entirely optional suicide mission? During her climb, Ava receives a series of messages from her partner Naomi via her climb bot. Each one more somber in tone, each one full of more life events that Ava is missing, including the passing of their cat named Capsule. In each message, Naomi is persistent in wondering, why? Ava is visually conflicted every single time, but the climb must go on. On the mountain, you meet Marco, a fellow climber and a fan of Ava. Ava is resistant to Marco's friendliness at first, but eventually accepts him as a friendly nuisance. You encounter Marco a few different times, and each time he's more convinced of the fact that this climb isn't possible. Closer to the summit, you run into Marco by a fire with a man that goes by Grandpa. Grandpa, a former climber himself, informs you that, one way or another, this is the end. The wall above has either killed or submitted any and all climbers that tried to climb it. Marco, happy to give up here, questions Ava. Is she just going to stay here for the rest of her life? Why not just go back down and learn how to do something other than climbing? After being questioned the whole game by anyone of importance, when Ava is on a radio trying her best to communicate her reasoning to Naomi, she too is left wondering why. It's a seemingly unanswerable question. The closest we get to an answer from Ava is during that previously mentioned last conversation with Marco, where she says that she feels like she has full control of her life on the mountain, but not on the ground. But does that single-handedly justify her attempt to summit the one mountain that is guaranteed to kill her? I don't believe it does. No one around Ava besides Ava herself believes it does either. To bring back my point from the start of the video, Ava's drive to summit Mount Kami seems to be driven by nothing but selfishness and a fool's gold mentality. There is no bravery behind her attitude of, I'm happy to die on this mountain. Not once does she consider the possibility of a life beyond Mount Kami and what that would look like. She ignores her partner, she pushes Marco up the mountain even when he feels it's too dangerous to do so, but at least she got to summit Mount Kami and die alone, right? I want to make it clear. I am critiquing Ava and the decisions that she makes and her overall mindset, but I absolutely adore where they went with the story. Video game stories are often really bad at presenting a flawed human being, but I think Cairn does an incredible job of showing you someone that is selfish and just plain mean at times, but not in a way that's over the top. They don't throw it in your face like it's a cartoon. They show you how she acts, and it's up to you to figure out how you feel about her. And I really want to commend the writers for Cairn for telling the story this way. Cairn is a one-of-a-kind video game experience. There is not a single game out there that feels like Cairn does. The gameplay is intuitive, edge-of-your-seat type stuff. Taking climbing, something that game's typically reduced to holding up with your joystick, and maximizing it, squeezing it for all the juice it has and making it the core component of your gameplay, is risky. There is absolutely a world where it becomes boring, but that isn't the case whatsoever with Cairn. Visually, it is absolutely stunning, providing what are sure to be some of my favorite, holy shit, look at that, moments of the year. All of this accompanied by a story that is much more complex than I was expecting and made me truly question the decisions and mentality of the main character. Some of the survival elements leave a little bit to be desired and at times feel a bit too harsh. Other than that, I actually have no complaints. It's a fantastic experience that I would recommend to anyone. Thank you so much for watching this review of Cairn, my first review ever on this channel. I absolutely adore this game. So again, if you are looking for just a unique video game experience, Cairn is for sure the first game this year that can provide that in spades. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and check out the other content I have on the channel. If you are a fan of pro wrestling or just want to hear me yap some more about some things I like, I do streams with my friends over on the Late Night Grin basically every single day. It's a ridiculous schedule, really. We have a bunch of stuff behind the paywall and a bunch of stuff for free. So feel free to check that out. Support us in any way you can. Yeah. Bye.